Hi, Roadies. You are with Janelle, go for it, and Kate Hannes. We are going to be running through our Roadie 101 workshop for you. Hopefully you're able to access this on YouTube. We wanted to give everyone an opportunity to check out our workshop without having to be here at a certain time. So we will get started. I am the Southern California coordinator. I've been with LifeCycle on and off as a staff person, a cyclist, and a roadie for almost 10 years. I came to the ride about 9 years ago as a cyclist, and I've jumped around for everything in between. I absolutely love the ride, and I'm having so much fun working with the roadies. So I will let Kate introduce herself.
Hi there, my name is Kate Hannes, and I'm the Northern California Roadie Coordinator. I am new to the ride as staff, but the last 3 years I've participated as a cyclist, so 2014, 2015, and 2016. I actually absolutely fell in love with the community and did the ride the first 2 years as an out-of-state cyclist and decided I was tired of leaving and recently moved to San Francisco, and now I'm very excited to now be on board and to be assisting our roadie community.
Perfect. So our little meeting will cover what is a roadie, roadie teams, life in camp, life on the ride, emergency procedures, travel logistics, what to pack, fundraising, orientation day, and opening ceremonies and our finish line. To start off with, what is a roadie? You, hopefully, are a roadie. It's a week-long volunteer responsible for the success of the LifeCycle event. Roadie jobs include, but are not limited to, serving food, driving trucks, picking up trash, hauling gear, bandaging the hurt, directing traffic, cheering, building camps, marking the route, and of course, lifting spirits. The success of LifeCycle is absolutely dependent upon the roadie community. We're so grateful to have you. We wouldn't have an event without our roadies. I will let Kate overview our roadie team.
All right, so I'd just like to take you through a few of our different teams. First, we have our camp-based teams. These are Advanced Setup A and B, bike parking, camp signage, gear and tent, info services, LifeCycle Village, traffic, bike tech, bus liaison, camp store, food service, and pack up. These are our camp-based teams because they are located primarily within camp, so they're not necessarily traveling the route. And these teams, in order to get from camp to camp, usually take a bus, and some of them drive trucks. Next up, we have our route-based teams. These are advanced route marking, bikes transport, caboose, moto safety, rest stop closure, and our safety drivers, route marking, sweep, water and ice, route cleanup, lunch, our rest stop teams, 1, 2, 3, and 4, the rest stop tent team, and water stop team. These teams, each team has their own vehicles, typically a passenger van and or a truck. The biggest thing we want to hit here with this team is to make sure you're driving safely around cyclists. The goal there is to get off the main bicycle route ASAP and use the driving directions that are provided for you. Every single person that's required to drive a vehicle will be partnered with a navigator, so you make sure that you are not using a phone while you're driving. Next up, we have our specialty teams, and these are the chiropractic team, massage team, medical transport, and sports medicine. These specialty teams are located primarily in camp, but at a few of our different stops, they're also located out on the route. For instance, we'll have sports medicine at our lunch stop every day, and then we'll have a small medical team at every rest stop throughout the day. All right, so now we'd like to jump a little bit into what life in camp looks like during the ride. All of the services in every camp are available starting at 1 p.m. Every single camp has shower trucks, so you can get a nice, warm, hot shower every evening after working hard. We do have gender-specific shower trucks as well as gender-neutral showers, which offer full stalls for changing and showering. Here in the middle, you can see a little bit of a window into our tent city. Basically, all of our tents for every participant is set up on a tent grid. It does change shape at every site, so keep in mind that you want to find the feather flag listed out with your letter for the truck you've been assigned. And don't be shy, ask for help if you feel like you're lost and you don't know where to go. The biggest pointer we can give you with your tent is they do have a tendency to want to fly away, so placing your luggage or your duffel bag inside the tent before you start to build it is the best way to go so your tent does not blow away. Also, we just want to remind you that these tents are thin, and so remember that noises carry, so make sure that you keep your conversations very quiet and have those conversations in a whisper. Everyone will be assigned a gear truck, as I mentioned, and those gear trucks are labeled A through R, and you'll be assigned that. And then that will correspond with your tent address. And then we have the LifeCycle Village, which is a great place to hang out and camp. You can see here we have some nice comfy chairs that you can sit in and relax. And also keep in mind that during the ride, you will be using a lot of porta potties, and whenever you're in camp, when it's nice and quiet and everyone's in bed, that the sound of a porta potty door slamming is possibly the worst thing that you can hear. So just a friendly reminder, and you will hear it a lot, which is to not slam the porta potty doors. Next up, let's go through a few of the services we'll have for you in camp. Here we have listed them out for you. Participant support is available to help you, so please don't hesitate to ask them for help if you need it. You can go to visit them if one of your participant wristbands has come off and you need a replacement. If your safety wristband comes off, keep in mind that you'll need to watch the safety video again to make sure that you can get that back. You and your tent mate, if you're having any issues and you're not getting along, participant support is a good resource for you. If you have an emergency and you need to leave the event early, you'll go to them. Or if you're having issues with your team or your captain and you need any help or support. The medical, sports med, chiro, and massage teams are there for you. These teams are Roadie teams, but they're also for you as well. So definitely use them if you need them. Everyone gets one free massage throughout the week, so plan accordingly on that. We do have yoga also every morning, and Shabbat services. At Invo Services, that's a great spot to get information, get some snacks. Lost and Found is located there. There is a meeting space for 12-step and other groups. And we have a charging tent. It's a very popular tent, so it's a great idea to bring a external portable charger. That way you aren't stuck in the charging tent all week. We will also have a camp store during the week, so if you want to buy a cool LifeCycle sweatshirt or any other swag, that's where you would go to that. And then, like I showed you in the photos before, you have the LifeCycle Village. Yeah, so that's a little bit more of the camp services we have. So I'll turn it over to Janelle.
Yeah, I'm just going to chat a little bit about our dining tent. As you can see there, we're in the middle of a camp stage program in that picture. As the slide says, a hot breakfast is served from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. each morning, along with a limited service at 4 a.m. for early starting roadies. This is not open for cyclists. This is specific to teams such as Rest Stop 1, fellow food service roadies that get up first thing in the morning. Then we have our dinner served from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. each evening. You show your wristband when you enter the food line. Vegetarians wear a green wristband, and they can only use the veggie line. So if there's something that you like on that meat eaters line, you're only able to use your designated food services depending on whether or not you're veggie or meat. We eat as much as we want on the ride, and second trips are allowed. No one is judging you. Second meals are a thing. Second dinner is a thing. Take care of your body. You're going to be eating a lot more than you expect on the ride. You work really hard as a roadie, and you're still burning the same calories and working hard as cyclists do. So please don't deprive yourself. The ride is not a place to diet. The camp stage program happens every single night. It's a really fun experience. It really gives this sense of camp, the way that you experience as a kid. Camp stage happens every evening in the dining hall. There are highlights from the day, announcements. We talk about the next day, weather, meals, special events coming up. Some teams may not be able to see the camp stage program depending on what your schedule is for that day. Try to attend at least once. Talk to your captain, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or your captain. Working on a way to post it the next day so we can see it. So we're hoping to allow people to catch that camp stage program the next day, but we're still in the works on that. So that will take us to a little more about life on the ride. Every single morning the route opens at 6:30 a.m. with the exception of day 2 and 7 when it opens at 6 o'clock. The route closes each day at 7 o'clock with the exception of day 5 and 7 when the route closes at 6. And then on our very last day, we close at 3 p.m. All roadie teams have different hours. So generally, you will get into a daily routine. It just, from team to team, those routines vary. Your captain knows all the details, but feel free to reach out to your captain or one of your coordinators if you have any questions. Many forward-facing teams have daily costume themes. As you can see on this slide, this is our Rest Stop 2, which is a team I worked on before. That's Sandy, who is the captain of the team, dressed up as a cute little leopard. So it's just something that we embrace on the ride. It's a fun way to kind of get involved, and it's really fun for the cyclists to see. As far as highlights go, I will let Kate address some of the other things that you can see out on the ride.
Yeah, so as Janelle mentioned, there are a few days where there will be themes. One of the days that you can really get excited for is Red Dress Day, which is always on day 5. Basically, that day is the shortest day for cyclists, but it is the windiest. So way back when, someone decided that this should be Wear Red Day, and being this community, what it transformed into is Red Dress Day. And the awesome thing is that because it is so windy on that day, with all of the cyclists dressed in red, it looks like a red ribbon as all of the folks dressed in red are biking along and looping across on all the switchbacks. So everyone takes part in this day, and so you can see here on the side there's someone dressed in a cute little outfit, probably someone from the traffic team. And so that's something you can look forward to on day 5. You can start planning your outfit now. Then on day 6, you can look forward to the Candlelit Vigil. This is held on the beach in Ventura. It is a very emotional evening, and it's a chance for us to honor those who we have lost and to remember and appreciate why we are doing this event. So everyone goes out onto the beach with candles, and we have a few moments to honor those that we've lost. And then I don't remember precisely which night it's on. Janelle might remember. The talent show is a great thing to look forward to as well.
I believe the talent show occurs on day 5, as does the Roadie Appreciation Night. And that's something that we'll message out as the ride gets closer, and we definitely speak about it on the ride. I just wanted to speak to themes real quick and assure anybody listening that they're not required, and it's just something that we, different teams, depending on the team that you're on, plan, as I'm sure your captains have addressed, depending whether you're on pack up, a rest stop, or lunch. I invite you to participate because it's a great thing, and it's a really great way to kind of feel that enthusiasm on the ride. I don't want anyone to feel obligated, so you're not required to dress in tutus and high heels and all that, so just shop to your comfort and know that it's just a really fun way to interact with cyclists and fellow roadies. So highlights take us to just going over a few, basically how to proceed in situations. On the ride, we don't say emergencies, we say situations. If someone is hurt and needs medical attention, please call 911 first. Just as you would in everyday life, please take care of the situation as urgently as possible. After 911, you may call the command center and just stay calm and follow the directions of your captain. Again, if there's a situation on the ride, please continue to do your job unless it's something that affects you or you've received instructions otherwise. If something else is going on outside of your immediate vicinity or you hear rumblings of something, I ask that you proceed as you were and continue to do your job unless there is then instructions to do otherwise. Stay off the walkie. That's something that we use unless you have to, unless you're given instructions to work on traffic or communicate with someone. It is somewhere where we keep the channels open for situations such as these. So speaking a little bit about safety as a whole, I will let Kate address some pointers about how to keep you out of the medical tent and how you can stay healthy on the ride.
All right, awesome. So one thing you'll see tied in with the ride, and you'll hear it if you haven't already, is ride safe, be safe. One thing that we do as roadies is switch that up a little bit. So it's roadie safe and be safe. As a roadie, you will work very hard on this ride, and it's very important that you are taking care of yourself. It's very easy to get caught up in the excitement of the day, feel like you need to be working nonstop. But we need to take care of ourselves and watch out for each other. So we've listed out a few things that you want to make sure you are doing. Eat before you're hungry. If you feel yourself really hungry and you haven't eaten yet, chances are your blood sugar might be really low and you would not want to run the risk of passing out. So make sure to eat before you're starving. Drink before you're thirsty. I'm sure you have heard it, which is that if you are thirsty, chances are you're already dehydrated. You don't want to get to that point. And basically, the way that I like to think of it is if you're on an airplane and they go through the whole spiel at the beginning and they talk about the oxygen mask, that you need to put on your oxygen mask before you put the one on if someone is a child or if someone needs help. The same applies here. You have to make sure you're taking care of yourself so that you can then take care of others. So that's why these things are really important. You also want to make sure you wear sun protection. So sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen. Having a nice big floppy hat is helpful as well. Wearing light clothing, khaki pants, shorts, etc. Every morning, make sure you warm up and stretch. You'll be working hard. Just like the cyclists, they need to make sure they warm up their arms and legs. Same goes for you. Like I mentioned before, visit the medical tent if you need to. They're there for you as much as they are for the cyclists. Make sure you take breaks. It's like we said at the very beginning, it's very important. You might feel like you need to work nonstop, but this is a marathon and not a sprint. You are doing this for 7 days continuously, so make sure that you're taking breaks and taking care of yourself. Lastly, make sure that you stay out of the tents in the middle of the day. They can really heat up in there, and that can lead to dehydration. So I'll turn it over to Janelle.
Yeah, and actually just to speak about dehydration, it's something that I have done on the ride my very first year as a cyclist because I was not using electrolytes and changing my electrolytes to water and switching off throughout the day. Roadies need to take care of themselves just as the cyclists do. Like Kate said, we've both been both cyclists and roadies. And it's really important to consider something like an electrolyte drink, something we provide on the road, or if you have a preference, to bring some powder or something with you so you can add to that water bottle throughout the day. I can't say it enough to take care of yourself. You'll just have a much better experience. So I'll just chat a little bit about our Day 7 and the Finish Line Festival. As I mentioned, the schedule on Day 7 is a little bit different. The route opens at 6 a.m. and closes at 3 p.m. We have a mandatory roadie meeting at 3 p.m. or roughly around there. And that is where we will all gather, all roadies, with hopefully all teams, gather together at a specific spot that will be determined at our our finishing line festival, and we will message that out so everybody knows where they're going and all captains know. We meet together and basically just say some hellos and goodbyes and just kind of rally as one, and that is to gather together so we can walk in this finish line at the closing ceremonies. It's really gorgeous. We have a chute that we all walk down, as you can see there. Staff in the first row, and then followed by all the roadies. So you have people cheering for you, and it's really, really an exciting finish to such a beautiful week. It's really emotional. People will be throwing their water bottles and hollering, and it's really, really a beautiful moment. So I hope that you can make the 3 p.m. meeting. Sometimes people need to leave a little bit early, but if your day can accommodate it, I really recommend such a beautiful finish to your experience. Also at closing ceremonies, we have gear retrieval. So that is where you will go back to that gear truck you were assigned throughout the week, and you will pick up your all luggage, all costumes, all extra boxes and bags that you may have taken through team vehicles or otherwise should all be in one spot, and just make sure that you grab everything. We get tons of lost and found at the end of the year, so do double and triple checking. Also at the finish line, we have a victory t-shirt. You will receive your finisher's t-shirt also at closing ceremonies, and that'll be at a specific area on the site. It'll be on maps, and we will be messaging that before. Also at finish line, you're welcome to register for next year. We have a great site that's very likened to a festival. So we typically have vendors, booths, just exciting stuff so you can finish your experience strong. And that also takes me to driving. I'm going to address some of the pointers for driving on the route. This doesn't apply to all roadies. This is specific to people who either have a driving role, or if your team captain has requested that you get a driving record checked. That is to allow you to drive any of our event vehicles. This does not mean a personal vehicle, and it is not an invitation to bring your vehicle on event, unfortunately. We're not able to accommodate very many vehicles due to permitting issues and space constraints. We just basically are going from campsites to parks, and we obviously do not have a ton of room. So in order to be cleared as a driver, whether that is in your own vehicle on something like a sweep team, as you see, that is Brendan Rome and his husband Bud. They have been on, Brendan's the current sweep captain, and Bud's been on the ride with us many years. And that's something that needs to be checked. Your driving record needs to be checked through an online form that is available in your participant center. We will go over all the dates of the availability of different forms, but that's something, like most things, are available in that center, and that will be happening a little bit later in March. You just submit your information, and if you're cleared to drive, you receive a gold wristband on orientation day, which allows people to identify you as a driver. That allows you to repark a vehicle if something comes up, move a truck if you're comfortable in a truck, and just kind of take care of our vehicle needs and assist staff and roadie captains in moving vehicles. There will be a survey online, as I mentioned earlier, and that's to no cost to you. That takes care of your driving record, and everything's done on our end. You will be approved or not approved, and you'll be contacted either way just to make sure that everything goes through. All drivers must have a wristband to get in the car, so if you see someone getting in the car with a gold wristband or you yourself don't have one, please don't drive. So I will turn it over to Ms. Kate, and she will address travel logistics.
All right, so travel logistics. On our website, we have offered a number of travel discounts and references to our hotel partners. Basically, if you go to aidslifecycle.org, at the very top menu, you'll see Life on the Event, and about 2/3 of the way down that list, you'll see a link to the travel planner. Once you go to the travel planner, it is segmented out. You have bike shipping, hotels, and transportation. You shouldn't need to worry about bike shipping, but the hotel section and then the transportation section for you there is a great resource. If you click on hotels, we have listed out for you hotels that are available in San Francisco, so leading up to the ride, and then we have hotels that are available in Los Angeles, so thinking about once you get to the finish line in LA. Basically, some of those partnerships, we've been able to get some discounts, and for instance, San Francisco, we have Hosteling International, so there are a few different ways that you can get a discounted rate there. And then under the transportation section, this lists out some of the different shuttles that will be available on orientation day. We'll also have opening ceremony shuttles, and some info regarding the Finish Line Festival and how to get to airports and so on and so forth. Basically, this section on our website is continuously being updated, so you can check back, especially to the transportation section, once tickets are announced that they are live on that section for you to purchase opening ceremony shuttles and so forth. We will also send out emails that are updated, letting you know that tickets are available to purchase and so forth. So from there, let's jump over to orientation day. Oh, no, sorry. So yeah, sorry, Janelle, will you go backwards for me?
Oh.
All right, travel. So I just wanted to...
We'll go back.
All right, travel logistics. So basically, I just wanted to spell this out a little bit. On orientation day, we will have shuttles that are running from Sports Basement on Bryan Street. So if you can make your way over to the Sports Basement, that's a free shuttle that'll get you to orientation day. And those will start running very early in the morning and go until orientation day closes. During opening ceremonies, so on June 4th, we will have shuttles that'll be running from the host hotels. Shuttles will start at 4 a.m. and there is a fee for those shuttles of $8. You can book this service by logging into your participant center to purchase your ticket. And like I said, we'll let you know whenever that goes live. But check with your captain, because this might not be something that works for you, dependent on if you're able to make it to opening ceremony or not. As Janelle mentioned, some teams, depending on their schedules, that might not work for them. And then lastly, with the Finish Line Festival, we will have shuttles that will be running to Burbank, LAX, and West Hollywood. But we were not able to secure hotels due to Pride weekend. So keep that in mind as you're planning your travel. So now that we have that wrapped up, let's jump over to what to pack.
So every participant on AIDS LifeCycle may bring a 70-pound bag, hopefully less, that will go on the assigned gear truck. I also recommend bringing a day bag, as you see here with that cute little backpack, just to keep with you, to have snacks, sunscreen, water bottle, sometimes a change of socks, an extra jacket, just to keep you prepared throughout the day. As far as sleeping goes, I recommend, as we have mentioned, we provide a tent on AIDS LifeCycle, though it is your responsibility to bring a sleeping bag, and as we recommend, something along the lines of either a sleeping pad to put under your sleeping bag or even an inflatable mattress. Our tents do accommodate typically a queen or so size mattress, so your tent mate and you can sort that out, or you can get a twin size to keep it even. It just makes sleeping and rest a lot easier. So the main focus of our packing advice was basically to just take care of yourself and bring the supplies that help you do your job better. So if you are a pack-up team, you know you're going to be needing, let's say, an extra pair of shoes. If you're going to be out in the sun, whether or not your job is specific to it, I recommend all roadies bring extra sunscreen, a hat, as well as medications. You want to make sure you have something like ibuprofen, aloe, lotion, those extra things, so you don't have to buy them at the camp store, and that you're not seeking out services from our medical tent when it's not necessary. Of course, roadie gloves, water bottle, and that pink wig is a nod to costume. So if you have things you're planning throughout the week, like I said, I encourage you to, kind of jump in and have fun with our themes to your comfort level. So you can bring your pink wig and your tutu and all that good stuff. I just recommend checking out our website. AIDSLifeCycle.org also has a packing list available under that travel planning section, and that provides you the basics, all the things you would think to bring as it is. Your sleeping bag, pants, shirt, some flip-flops for the shower, and then also we outlined a couple specific roadie things on that packing list as well, which you can be more attentive to. So that brings us to fundraising. let's see. Now, roadies are not required to fundraise. Cyclists are required to fundraise $3,000, and though roadies are not required to, so many do. It's a great experience. It's a great way to increase your impact on AIDS life cycle and help us generate even more funds to provide services. It's very easy to do. You set up your participant page online, and I always recommend people to tell their story. What brought you to AIDS life cycle? It's a great place to put in your participant center to just kind of address what caused you to leave your daily life for 1 week and get on the road and truly give so much of yourself to support this event. It's so important in increasing the visibility of HIV and AIDS by just sharing what you're doing. What is AIDS Life Cycle? I think that it's great to even just tell your friends and family that you're a part of this event, whether or not your intention is to fundraise. We have a lot of great roadie facts on our website. Use the donation of your time as a way to really reach people. The fact that you're willing to sacrifice 7 days of your life to make sure that this event is a success, to make sure that we have this ride every single year in order to bring services to the LA LGBT Center and San Francisco AIDS Foundation is really a beautiful thing. We have social media squares and things available on our website to create little tools for you. You can post on Facebook, you can post on blogs. You can check out our website, and that will be under social media tools under fundraising. You can see different pictures and also give roadie facts. That is the roadie squares we mentioned on that list. I also recommend thanking your donors. Thank them on Facebook, thank them on email. Just make sure that your donors really understand your gratitude. And I think more of thank yous and more love is always really helpful to the experience. So if you're looking here at your participant page, so when you first log in, you'll see a screen like this. This is Kate's page. You can see that she's fundraised $500 of her $5,000 goal. You can also see upcoming to-do list. You can see typically this is where our medical forms will be posted. The MVR form will be posted. So you'll see as you log in any updates or anything that have just gone live. You also can see resources here. You can change your profile, your password. You can look at past years of your participant center if you've been on the ride before. And then as you see under fundraising, there's a PDF, a paper version of the donation form if your donors don't want to make a donation online or if you received a check. And you can view your personal page and check out a little bit more there. So you can also see this is where we can compose messages for to reach our donors. We have different themes throughout the year, so we just passed Valentine's Day. Here we are in March, and that was something that was a fun little template accessible in your participant center. This is also where you can edit your participant page. So that outfacing page that you send to people, you can see Kate's Kate's website address here is www.tofighthiv.org/go-to/Kate Hannes. And this is the page that you see when editing. It's a great place to put your story. You can add pictures, video, or you can create a blog. So this is the out-facing version of that participant page. This is featuring one of our rest stop roadies, Nikki. She, at the time of this being posted, was 23% to her goal, and you see a little scrolling page of donors and more information about what caused her to join the ride. It's really exciting to share with people. I update my pictures. I have such a collection of memories from the years of my AIDS life cycle experiences. It's so easy to kind of talk about how much the mission affects me and how, coming back to AIDS life cycle every year really gives me the feeling that I'm doing something for AIDS and HIV. So this is a great place to talk about the mission. And for our roadies that fundraise, we have thank you gifts. So you can see here in this picture, that's Kate in the first picture, modeling our Roadies Rock t-shirt. That's available to roadies that fundraise $100 before the ride. That's available all the way up until orientation day. So you can be receiving donations at that very last minute, and that applies to all of our thank you gifts here. That is me on the far right wearing the Roadies Rock hat. That's available to roadies that fundraise $500 or more. This is our supplies coordinator, Hava, wearing the Roadies Specific Ride 4-5 sweatshirt, available to roadies that fundraise $1,500 or above. And then we have our Kathleen from Southern California as well, modeling the Roadies Rock bag. It's a great camp bag. It's something great to put your shower stuff in or carry around camp, and that is for $3,000 or above. It's just a great way to kind of show your roadie pride. I think the Roadie Rocks t-shirts are even probably my favorite because they're so accessible. Fundraising $100 is surprisingly doable. Just telling your immediate friends and family what you're doing often is a great way to just get donations and, again, increase the visibility of our cause. So I hope to see lots of roadies wearing that Roadies Rock shirt out on the road. I will turn it over to Kate to review some details about Orientation Day.
All right, so Orientation Day, often referred to as Day 0, falls the day before the ride. So we are talking about June 3rd, which is a Saturday. Orientation Day happens at the Cow Palace, which is in Daly City, and we have the address listed out there for you. Orientation Day hours are 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. A couple of things to know about Orientation Day is that everyone is required to go to a participant orientation meeting, fondly referred to as a POM. These are required for everyone. If you leave this meeting, you have to start over from the beginning. It lasts about 45 minutes, and it was really important. We go over safety during the ride, as safety is one of the core values of AIDS LifeCycle, so we take this very seriously. But we do make it fun. We have a lot of videos for you to watch, and yeah, you'll learn a lot during that. So that's one thing that'll happen during Orientation Day. Let's jump over to the next slide. All right, so we have a new app. This app is to help you navigate Orientation Day, and also whenever you can use it for life in camp. You'll be able to use this app at Orientation Day for check-in, thank you gifts, and at medical. One thing to keep in mind is make sure you bring a photo ID with you. The nice thing about this app is that it has allowed us to eliminate the need to print out so much paper, but we do still need you to bring a photo ID to make sure that we can confirm you are who you say you are. All right, let's jump over. We have some important dates that we'd like to cover for you. All right, so upcoming dates. We are now in March, which is very exciting, which means we have a lot of upcoming dates. The first to keep in mind is the medical form. The medical form will go live in your participant center on March 17th, and this is open online through May 16th. This is where you'll include any medication you need to have with you, any special needs, health issues, food allergies. If you haven't completed this medical form before the deadline on May 16th, this will be something that you'll take care of at Orientation Day in person, but we suggest that you avoid the lines and submit it early. Once your medical form is submitted as a roadie, this makes you eligible for online tent assignment. Online tent assignment is open at the same time period, so you should be able to submit that medical form and then jump over and then submit your tent assignment. Basically, everyone that stays in a tent during AIDS LifeCycle is required to have a tent mate. So basically, on your tent assignment, you will request the other person, and then the other person would request you. So on my tent assignment, I would say, I want my tent mate to be Janelle Goforth, and then Janelle Goforth would fill out her tent assignment and say, I want my tent mate to be Kate Hannes, and then we would be paired together. One thing to keep in mind is that if you are tenting with a cyclist, that cyclist needs to have completed or earned their ticket to ride before they can do online tent assignment. So that cyclist needs to have raised $3,000 in order for you to be able to select them as your tent mate. Lastly, we have the MVR form here. Janelle mentioned driving and some requirements there, so that is open the same time frame. March 16th or March 17th to May 16th online. This is required to be cleared to drive all ALC vehicles. On event, approved drivers will receive that gold wristband she mentioned, and due to space constraints, we're not able to accommodate personal vehicles unless this is specifically required or requested in advance. So you can talk more with us about that. Lastly, we do have a special needs form. This includes CPAP, severe allergies to food, medications, and other conditions. We can review this process with you and let you know where those documents are. Just come and reach out to your Roadie coordinator if you have more questions regarding this. Next slide. All right, tent assignment. So we talked about it a little bit. Basically, as I said, everyone has a tent mate. And so everyone will be given a set of chips, and these will be hung around your neck. So we have, for instance, this board has the Q chips on it. And so if Janelle and I were tent mates, our address would be Q67. So we would find that Q row and then walk down the line until we found a little seed packet stick in the ground for 67, and that is where I would set up my tent. Yeah, online tent assignment up until May 16th, and then otherwise this is something that you would complete at orientation day in person. Keep in mind you will walk up to that desk with your tent mate right next to you. You can't walk up to the desk by yourself and then have the other person do the same. You need to make sure you're there together. And also that tent address determines which gear truck you'll be assigned. So as I said, we live in Q67, so I would take all of my gear to gear truck Q each morning before we left to do our roadie jobs. All right, let's jump over to the next slide. All right, check-in. Janelle's going to take you a little bit more through the process, what that looks like.
Yeah, so also on orientation day, the check-in process happens after the participant orientation meeting. As Kate mentioned earlier, that is where you're going to receive your tent chips. It's where you're going to receive your wristbands. You'll receive a packet that has all of the above inside of that. So if you have a driver's wristband, you'll receive that gold wristband. If you are a vegetarian, you will receive a green wristband to designate your veggie line. And it's also where you'll receive a little extra information regarding where to put bags. We have some bag stickers that kind of look like wristbands to place on every single piece of gear that you have. That's also to label, and it's also to show us that your bag is part of the event. Obviously, wanting to keep everyone safe, we have the tightest security possible for an event of this size. We have people that keep the patrol over bags that are not being used or no one's approached them. We want to just make sure that we know if something belongs to one of our participants or if it belongs to someone else on site. So that's just a little note on safety. Check-in process, I recommend getting to the getting to Cow Palace on orientation day as early as possible, just depending on how you want to arrange your day. Orientation day is something that is required, though we do not take care of accommodations that night. So that is the only night related to ACE LifeCycle that you will be required to take care of your own hotel or sleeping arrangements. And then the very next day, on day one, is where you'll join the ride, and every single night you will have a tent and a new campsite every single night to sleep at. So that's just a little note on what you have to look forward to. Also at orientation day, just like we have on camp, we have, in camp, we have our camp store. You'll also be able to pick up any thank you gifts that you earned. We stopped sending out thank you gifts around mid-May to early May, just depending on shipping and everything. We don't want to have anything get lost in the mail. So if you've been earning towards the end of the year, that's where you can pick up those last-minute thank you gifts. We also have the recruitment lounge, of course. That's where you can sign up for 2018 already. We also have vendors. You'll see coffee. There will be some snacks. I still recommend bringing a snack in your bag just in case. Sometimes the day can be a little long. So just to kick off with self-care, I always say take care of yourself. Also on orientation day, we have a 12:30 roadie meeting. So as you mentioned, every person needs to go to a participant orientation meeting. Those occur at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and we just want to make sure that you RSVP for a roadie meeting that does not conflict with, a participant orientation meeting that does not conflict with your mandatory 12:30 roadie meeting. You can see this is one of the bays in Cow Palace. That's where all the roadies gather, and we do a specific roadie presentation. We go over some safety tips, watch a quick video. We make some exciting announcements about fundraising and the impact of the roadies that they have on the event. It's a great way to see some staff members, and it's a really fun way to see your team for the very first time. So in that bay, every single roadie team is grouped together. So you'll see signs that say, oh, we're the lunch team, we're pack up, we are food service, and so your captain will let you know where your you're sitting, and you are invited to go in there with your group. So after the Roadie meeting, we have breakout sessions, and you will have some one-on-one time with your team. So following immediately, you wouldn't want to RSVP to a participant orientation meeting that's, let's say, at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, because that's going to cut it too close with your obligations as a Roadie. At the team breakouts following that Roadie meeting, you will make some final arrangements with your captain regarding the next day. So some teams meet around Cow Palace, just depending on what their job is. On that first day one and opening ceremonies, every Roadie team is a little bit different. So depending on your job and what time you are required to report in for your first day of work, it kind of decides whether or not you'll be able to see opening ceremonies, or if you need to meet somewhere around Cow Palace and jump right in. So check with your captain about your schedule. For example, on Rest Stop 2, I met at the McDonald's near Cow Palace, and we all rode out together in our vehicles and pass vans, and we went straight to Rest Stop 2 to get started. Also at day one, you will be dropping off your gear. That is, again, corresponding to your tent chip, and it's corresponding to the same tent address that you will receive the whole week. So as Kate and I have mentioned earlier, if we are at Q 67 or 47, we are there the whole week, and that's always where you can report and drop off your bags and say hello to your gear and tent roadies. At orientation day, if you're able to go into Cow Palace that morning, we have a light breakfast available. It's typically something like oatmeal and coffee, bananas. You can take those with you on the road. And that is something I recommend typically being there by 5 a.m. if your Roadie job does allow you to participate. Then at opening ceremonies, let's see here. You can see some of the things that you can expect. That's our gorgeous Cow Palace. And that is the lineup of gear trucks where you will place your bags at the very beginning of day one. And then it'll be a similar setup as you go from camp to camp. You'll see a long line of gear trucks, and you will find your corresponding letter. So that is Lori Jean talking at our opening ceremonies, and some cyclists enjoying the show. So again, it's a great ceremony if you're able to make it. So since this is a YouTube video, there is no need to answer any live questions, but I invite you to email us. We're also available on our AIDS LifeCycle Facebook. If you need anything, if you have questions about your Roadie experience, questions about your team, how to get ready, both Kate and myself are available, and your captain is always able to answer questions. Our captains have typically been on the ride for years, so all of us are happy just to make sure you are completely informed. So thank you so much for checking out our little Roadie 101 video. I hope it's helpful to you and gets you ready for your experience. Thank you again for signing up on AIDS LifeCycle as a Roadie. What you're doing is such a selfless act to give a week of your time to a cause and to an event like this. And again, AIDS LifeCycle could not exist without you. So thank you so much.